All right, so here's what we know. We know that we've set some lofty goals in terms of where we want to bring kids in terms of proficiency, right? And the only way that we're going to get those kids there is to make sure that we select the right instructional strategies, which is step 4 of the process. So in terms of select instructional strategies, here's what I want to do, right? I want to make sure that we have some time to just quietly and privately come up with as many strategies as we possibly can, right? So we're going to take about 5 minutes, jot down as many strategies as you think you have for pulling explicit details from a text and getting kids to draw inferences from a text, right? Don't just use everything that you've done in your class. Go out, find what's online, bring all your teacher resources in if you need to, and come up with as many strategies as possible. We're in pure brainstorm mode right now. Okay, so we're going to take about 5 minutes. We're going to do that. And remember, the reason why we do that is because if we don't, if I just say like, okay, give me some instructional strategies. You know what? Lorna's likely to give me one strategy, and then we're probably going to spend the next 15 minutes talking about that strategy. And at the end of the day, we've talked about a strategy, right? So we're trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. So let's take 5 minutes, let's brainstorm, and then we'll come back. 5 minutes later. Good. What do we have?
I have reciprocal teaching.
Good. Okay, reciprocal teaching. Good. Cedric, let's throw that one up there if you please. Reciprocal teaching.
Direct instruction.
Excellent. Direct instruction. Another good one. Thank you very much.
Vocabulary.
Good. Yeah, because we know that vocabulary programs have a substantive effect size. Thank you very much. Good. What else?
Cross-curricular
Good.
teaching.
Good. So doing some cross-curricular teaching. Great way to leverage a good strategy that way. Let's put cross-curricular teaching up there. Thank you.
Cooperative learning.
Good. Cooperative learning. Also a great strategy. Substantive effect size. Cooperative learning goes up. Thank you.
Feedback.
Feedback. Nice. Thank you.
Enrichment activities for the advanced students.
Good. Enrichment activities for the advanced student. Really important that we consider not just the strategies for our basic and below basic kiddos, but we got to consider some really substantive strategies because we do have kids who are currently proficient in this right now. So we got to make sure that we have some stuff for them. Great. What else?
Small group differentiation.
Good. Small group differentiation. Thank you. Other strategies?
Acceleration.
Acceleration. Good. Thank you.
How about a read and review? So to go with that cooperative learning, read and review.
Good. So a read and review strategy. Great. What else?
Classroom discussions.
Good. Classroom discussions. Getting kids engaged in that. Other things?
Animated shorts.
Good. Animated shorts. So is there any way we can move in some rich multimedia into this activity? Nice. Good. Other activities, strategies, tools, anything?
Leave tracks in your thinking.
Good. Leave tracks in your thinking. Great activity.
A detective game.
Okay. You've got a detective game? All right. Good. Let's talk more about that later just because is everyone familiar with what the detective game is? I'm not either, so good. We'll talk about that more later, get an explanation.
Giving some more background knowledge on subjects.
Okay, good. And background knowledge on subjects. Good. All right. Hey, let's pause there for just a moment. So we've got tons of strategies, all right, which is good because here's the nice thing, right? So now we have a boatload of strategies that we can use to get kids to be able to pull out relevant examples and details from the text and to draw inferences from a text. You can use any and or all of these strategies. Our task right now is to pick the one strategy that we are all going to agree to implement with fidelity over the course of the next 12 days because we want to know whether or not this strategy is impactful in terms of moving kids across the proficiency spectrum. So take a look at what's up there. Reminder, we have reciprocal teaching, direct instruction, cooperative learning, the detective game, we have vocabulary, cross-curricular work, feedback, enrichment activities, small group differentiation, acceleration, read and review, discuss, animated shorts, leaving tracks in your thinking, and background knowledge on subjects. We've got some good stuff to choose from. So as a group, what are your thoughts on the one or maybe a mix of one or two strategies that you would like to utilize?
I think if we look at the list that the effect size list, reciprocal teaching was pretty high on the list and I think would give us some good bang for our buck.
I like that. I like that. So it's so important for us to remember that when we're talking about strategies, we do want to consider strategies that have the greatest effect size. So I like where you're thinking.
I agree with Lorna because we're working essentially on metacognition, and that is one strategy that does exactly that.
Good. Thanks for bringing us back to the root cause. So when we look at the root causes of why kids are struggling, we talked about the metacognitive piece. We're talking about the process of thinking about your own thinking and developing those thought processes. Reciprocal teaching might help us there. Good. Other thoughts?
To do cross-content work for those students that are in the core replacement,
Okay,
that are in our classroom during their reading time, that they still are getting these strategies and instructional tools to help them.
very good, because we know that that's a problem, not one that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about because we can't impact it. We can't impact when kids are or are not in our room. But what we can do is recognize, hey, if we do some cross-curricular stuff, you know what, we can get those kids when they aren't with us. Great point. Other thoughts?
I also like the cross-curricular with the reciprocal because then they see it's not just a reading skill. I carry this over all day, every day into the real world in science and social studies, so
Nice.
they start to use it in other areas.
Okay, so here's my next question. Do we want to do that in every single content area?
No.
I'm seeing no's. Okay. Tell me why not, and then tell me which ones you want to choose.
I think it would be too much to do it in every single area. Social studies and science, I think, would be the easiest because we swap those on days we don't usually teach them at the exact same time. So it would just be like picking up one more piece
Okay.
instead of 5.
So I'm hearing one advocate for just social studies and science.
And we do have social studies and science text, so we wouldn't be having to go out and find stuff, so we could easily tie that into what we already have.
Nice. Okay. Good. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay, good. So there's a lot of other strategies out there. Do we want to talk about any of those others, or are we good with reciprocal teaching and doing that in a cross-curricular function?
I think those two are probably enough for us all to take back and implement right away and be on the same page with. I think you can use any or all of the rest of them, but the two we're going to focus on, I think that's enough.
Okay, good. So Cedric, can you help us recap here? Scroll back to the top for me if you don't mind. Let's just go back to the standard. When we take a look at, there you go. When we go back to the standard, we know that kids need to refer to details and examples in a text when explaining what the text says explicitly and when drawing inferences from the text. We know that approximately 95% of our kids, as of right now in this moment, which is expected, we're talking about a pretest, are not proficient in this skill set. What we've said is that we can move about 70% of the total cohort of kids up one proficiency level. We've disaggregated those percentages by proficiency level in our SMART goal. We've said in order to accomplish that goal, we want to utilize reciprocal teaching, and we want to do that across multiple content areas, focusing specifically on social studies and science. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks. Let's pause.